Hey guys, this is the best welding machine on the face of the earth. Oh man. Okay, the reason that is because it's the one I like. Everybody likes something different. There's some pipeliners on here thinking, I would never use a disadvantage. I gotta have my SA200 or my short hood or a 300D or whatever. It's what you get used to. That's the moral of this story. I'm gonna walk you through this, what I've used for the last 16 years or whatever. This is my second one. This one's got 6,000 something hours on it. My other one's got, I don't know how many, it's got a lot. It still runs good. That's the main reason I like it, because it's got a Kubota motor. I know a lot of them do. And it doesn't seem to have shunts that go out and stuff like that. I had a computer board go out in one of them one time, and I had, what did I have done? A fuel injection, which was my fault. I didn't change the fuel filter. Change your fuel filter. This diesel we get's crappy. And if you leave it in there, it gets bad, it'll chew up some of that water, and it'll get water in it, and that's the worst thing you can do for a diesel. Now, I'm gonna start with a heat box because somebody was asking a question, what is a heat box? Well, this heat box has everything to do with the way this thing welds. It was one of the biggest downfall I've ever had from this Vantage was between here and here. And okay, I'll just get into the story. What happened was I started having porosity from the bottom all the way to the top. I've been welding for years at this point. I mean, the same people have been x-raying my welds every day. Everything we do is 100% x-ray. They've been x-raying my welds every day for years and years. It's like, Chris, I've x-rayed thousands of your welds. What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I'm doing the same thing. I didn't forget how to weld overnight. But that's why they're there, you know, in case something goes bad. And the porosity was underneath the weld. And it was bad too. I mean, I'd grind down in it and it looked like honeycomb. You couldn't see it on the outside, it was on the inside. So I went to snatching and grabbing. I checked my heat box, it worked. It would go up and it would go down. So, well, that's not it. So I changed leads, I changed welding rods, I was polishing stuff inside that welding machine that had no business being messed with. I was doing everything I could do. And finally, I talked to a guy at the welding repair shop. He said, Chris, change your rheostat. I said, but it works. He said, just try it. I changed the rheostat. I bought a brand new one for 300 or 350 bucks, plugged it in, and all the problems went away. I haven't seen any more of it. So that little tip is going to help somebody one day. Now, if you got a Vantage, you're having trouble with porosity, that's very possible it could be the case. That's really the only downfall I've ever had with this thing. Now it's out there, and I wish I could have found this video. It would have been really nice if somebody would have made this video for me. Now, I'll walk you through, if you do have a Vantage or have access to one, or you want to know the best heats or what I use, and it's going to be different on yours, just like this machine's different than my other machine, but I'm going to give you what I do. And it's a whole lot more than what I got. When I first started welding, I called a guy that was from a union. He was the one that had my first machine before me, and I asked him, hey, how's it weld? Are you a member of the union? I said, no, sir. He said, well, you need to just go do that, and I can't tell you nothing. And he was a real prick about it, and I actually hung up the phone. I hung up the phone when he's talking. That's how much help I got when I started. So that's why it's so important for me to make these videos and help you guys. I don't want anybody to live through that. So, and I know most welders are good people, and they'll help you if you try. If you got a Vantage, it'll bead anywhere from 3, 3 1/4 to 5. Your rod's gonna start burning up at 5. We don't have gears and stuff on these. You have this. Right in here is where you're gonna be. So you're beading from here to here. Hot pass with a 532 70 plus is about 5 in position. If you're hot passing with a 5mm, it's about 6. It runs a 532 7018 really good at 6 on top if you're rolling out. And if you're using a 1/8 7018, about 3 3/4 or so. If you're on the bottom, maybe 3 1/2, you know. But all these are going to be different, and I'm telling you, and it'll get you close. So don't put what I do and try to do it. Your machine's probably different. I can't say that enough. Now, these controls, it blows everybody's mind. They always want to fiddle with this stuff. You don't have to touch this, really, unless you're TIG welding. It's the only time I ever open this is if I'm TIG welding. It's got a touch start for TIG welding. You can touch your tungsten to the pipe, to the bevel, and have a conversation, get all your other stuff ready, whatever. Your machine will be idled up and ready to go. Argon flowing, whatever you need, get all the way ready, pick it up. All you have to do is pick it up and it'll come on and you can start welding. I really like that feature. I use it all the time. I never go to CC stick. I used to. It's for like a hot start on 7018. But what was happening, now I don't know why this happened, but it was making wormhole porosity on the top. When I was doing some rollouts at a different job, or maybe even in position, I was having a little trouble. It'd be a little bitty, it looked like a wormhole just went just straight down into it, just a little bit. And it was right where I would start. I would start and I would, you know, like we always do, you start and then you come back and then you mow over it. But it wasn't digging that out. So I quit using the CC stick setting and I went straight to downhill pipe, and I do, you know, you do your bead and usually your hot pass, downhill, and then you'll uphill with a 7018, and then you'll cap it with a 7018. Usually out here in natural gas pipeline stuff, fabrication stuff, that's usually how it is. Okay, arc control. This stays wide open. I don't mess with it. I used to play with it all the time. It means little. I'll just turn it wide open, it'll be nice and crisp, and you don't have to mess with it anymore. I found very little, I mean, it's like a tinker's dam. Makes little difference. That's it here. When you plug this remote in, I left it out. When you plug it in here, this will be obsolete. This means nothing anymore, okay? It all goes to here. One other feature I like is I can plug my shop into there and it'll run my whole shop. It's got a good generator on it. I think it's 11,000 watts, peak 12.5. And that's about it on the Vantage. Now, I touched on welding rods a little bit, and I had some people ask me, you know, can you do some videos about welding rods? And I will for you guys, but I'm not really going to get down into the 7018 to 70 pounds per square inch tensile strength. You know, there's plenty of videos out there like that. You know, what with the rods you're going to need to use, they're going to tell you. You have to use a 60-10 on the bead. You have to use the 80 plus, 70 plus on the downhill side of it, and usually a 70-18 on the rest of it. And all those are great rods. The only thing different between a 60-10 and an 80-10 is 80-10 doesn't dig as much as a 60-10. And the 60-10 will dig like crazy. And 80-10 is like a bowed up 60-10. They're really nice rods. You don't have to worry about too much using them. You don't have to worry about the wind too much. I mean, the wind could be blowing and it'll make your weld look ugly, but there still won't be any porosity. 70-18 is not the same way. I'm gonna give you little tips like that, but as far as telling you all the crap that's in it, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. You're gonna have to use what they want you to use, and it'll work for everything else. Handrails, people asking me all the time, what's the best rod to use for this? The first one you put your hand on usually. Now you guys were using these AC rods, these Harbor Freight Walmart rods, forget about it. That is junk. You need to get on with it. Get the 60-10 5P plus, get the 5mm pipeliners. If it says pipeliner on it, it is awesome. The old 80-10s ain't nothing like the new ones. Remember that. I always buy the ones that are more expensive. I think they're called Pipeliner Arc 80s. I know they are actually. That is a bad mamma jamma, and they don't go bad as quick either. So I'm gonna give you rod tips, but I ain't gonna go all into the, you know, garbage. These rods will do this. Doesn't matter. Not at all. It's what the inspector wants. When he's not parking in the way, you know, people ask me if I want to be a weld inspector. I have never had the desire to do that. It is highly unlikely that I will ever be a welding inspector. But nothing against those guys. All I know is don't argue with them. So that's about it on the Vantage. Hope I helped somebody. Somebody's gonna click on this video and they're gonna learn something. I hope y'all have an awesome, awesome day. Leave anything you want to in the comments. Well, not anything you want to. Leave some good questions, and the good ones I'll read on camera. because those will help somebody later.